Welcome to the Not Null Podcast. I'm just an AI voice, but here are your real hosts, Sarah Kimmel, Paul Bratzlovsky, and Bobby Davis.
All right, welcome to the Not Null Podcast, where we discuss everything from robots to flying cars. Joining me today is Paul Bratzlovsky and Bobby Davis. And I'm Sarah Kimmel. I almost forgot to introduce myself. So today we are talking about Google integrating Bard, their AI chatbot, into more of their products, Vegas casinos getting hacked, and will the social network formerly known as Twitter start charging users for the platform? But first, I wanted to ask my co-hosts a question, and it's a very important question. I'll start with you, Bobby.
Okay.
Do you think about the Roman Empire?
No. And I know that this is a social media thing, and I don't know what it's about. But very rarely do I think, does that make me a bad person or a good person? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, we'll get there. How about you, Paul? Do you think about the Roman Empire?
No, not on a day-to-day basis. Maybe once in a while when I catch a podcast of like history and they share a story, but no.
So apparently this is a TikTok thing gone viral that apparently men think about the Roman Empire and women mostly do not. I never think of them. So apparently, Bobby, Paul, I'm sorry to tell you that you are women.
Not that. Yeah,
Okay.
we're women.
We're not manly enough to think about
We're not manly enough. I would call BS because I would then ask a follow-up question about identify like the top Roman janitors that and what were their what were they known for? It's like they don't know. They're just stupid trends.
Does it count that I've seen Gladiator 20 times?
Yeah, that 100%. Yeah, 100%.
That's a fantastic movie. I love Gladiator, and that's probably the only time that I think of the Roman Empire. So, but yeah, that's the trend on TikTok. If you search the hashtag Roman Empire, you'll see all sorts of women asking their spouse or partner or anything if they think about the Roman Empire, and if they do, how often they
listen.
So what's the instant? Well, like, what's the deeper meaning? Why are they asking? Do you know?
I have a guess.
Okay, let's hear it, Paul.
Hot take, everybody. It's like if you got time to be thinking about Roman Empire, it's like you're probably unemployed. Like, what are you doing? Like, go to work, pay your bills. You got responsibilities. Like I never thought about Roman Empire and my cable bill was paid. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are you all doing? Anyway, that's it.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, it seems like such a really random thing. I mean, obviously it was one that just got, super viral as women start asking men about if they think of the Roman Empire. Apparently a lot of men do, and women are just baffled by the concept because it's not something
I have
that we
so many
think
questions. I have so many questions.
So I'm reading this is all those organized together in this sort of thing that meshes very well with fantasies of ancient Rome. Well, if I thought about it, it's not I don't want to be in ancient Rome. That's for sure. I mean,
I think this is this is here's another hot take because I could this is a topic.
Let's hear all the hot takes.
Hot takes, I could do a lot of them. All right, so everybody saw Gladiator, and you know what? He represented, I was like, hey, it's a good looking dude. A lot of women must, think about it, and then they're like, hey, let me check about my husband, because they have this fantasy in their head. Hey, do you think about Rome? Because they're trying to hint, maybe we could do some Roman role play. And the guy's like, of course I think about Rome all the time. Of course. I'm pretty much a Roman, whatever they were called, back in the day. I got the shield, I'm going to go there. And then that's what it is. It's people, again, it's you're not at work. You don't have to, I don't know what you're doing. It's that you have all this time, both sides, man.
But my man got screwed over in Gladiator. He lost.
I know. That's very sad. I cried at that ending. I'm not gonna. I was just, I can't believe it.
I absolutely cried in Gladiator. I mean, poor guy. But you're right. Good looking guy. just super macho tough guy, I could see people like wanting to be like that. But yeah, so that's kind of the thing, is that like, see, sort of the great man version of history where men rise to fame. 300. So the technically 300 is Greece. Like, so I don't know why they're.
But that's how like they know. They're like, oh no, we think about Romans all the time. 300. That's like, dude, that you just cut yourself out. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. All right, just relax. You know, whatever. I actually don't know anything enough. I probably said some wrong information also right now because I don't think about it because I'm too busy paying my rent.
Yeah.
God, what are you all doing there? But look at that. That's you know.
That's Gladiator.
Like that's clearly, I was going to say, no, that's not Gladiator. That's clearly 300.
That's 300. You're right. It's stylized. Yeah. The color.
Yeah. I'm like, that's clearly a Spartan uniform. I mean, because my high school mascot was Spartans.
Dude, I you know what? Like, I don't think about it, like thinking about like being thrown to the lions for fun. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you like? Think about, it's
So I never think of the Roman Empire. My husband was in the same boat. He was like, he's like, in what context? Like,
it's like, what are you trying to do here? Like, this is a trick. It's a trick.
Yeah, he definitely thought I was trying to trap him in something.
100%. That's what that is.
I don't know what that says about our relationship, but
I just wonder about our college professors that dream this stuff.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Try to divide it,
and that's like 2% of the male population. Let me tell you. That think about Roman history like that. Like they, I was gonna say, like, for developers who are listening, I probably think more about jQuery than I do about the Roman Empire. And then nobody thinks about jQuery. So like, I don't know what y'all like. Oh, like everybody always trying to come up with something for social media. It's like,
I think more about Blazor right now, Paul. That's all I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Let me, like, if I were married, let's say, and I ask my wife, like, what do you think? Like, do you think I think about it? She'll tell, no, I'm thinking about you paying your rent. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking, like, what am I going to get for presents? Like, my birthday's coming up. Like, what is, like, unless you give me some Roman, My
question, my wife would probably say, why aren't you, like, putting up the dishes? Like, why can't you do that?
Yeah. Right, exactly.
I don't know. I was thinking about Rome,
Yeah.
I had a friend, and he was like going through this phase where he was like, I'm a man's man, and he's like, I'm going to do like hunting, like whatever, and like he's telling how he's like, I'm like a hunter, like and the guy, like, he's talking to, is like, yeah, me too. I go to the supermarket and I hunt for bagels. it's so different now. It's like we live in a totally different time, but it's funny.
Yeah, we definitely don't need to be relying on whether or not the like emperor gives me a thumbs up or thumbs down to see if I'm going to survive the day. First, let's talk about the social media platform formerly known as Twitter. So there was an interview with our favorite person, and I'm so bummed that Kevin isn't here this week for this little bit of news. I know.
Person?
Yeah, it's his so fave. Yeah, he's going to be like so depressed.
For sure, yeah.
But yeah, so in an interview out of this country, Elon Musk says X is going to start charging users a monthly payment to use X. And there's already the subscription. So there are already people paying to use the platform. But this is like basically would lock it out to anybody that's not paying. And I mean, obviously it'd probably be a small amount. But Paul, I wanted to go to you first. What do you think about this little turn of events?
Hot take. I mean, they should just make it $100 a month, like, I mean, I think they're moving in the right direction. I think they're just not charging enough. And I feel like, they need to make it so expensive that only 300 people could afford it. And that way they could be like, we have 300 people. We're the original 300, and it's like, and the other part of me is like, yeah, great. The more people pay, the less tech influencers I'm going to see, because they're not going to pay for Twitter. Like, who am I kidding? They're going to like go somewhere else, a better platform, different place. So I won't have to put up with that. So literally the more expensive it is, I think the more peace and quiet we're going to get on the platform.
Right.
I think that's my take.
So
on that.
would you pay for it then, Paul?
I'm already paying for it, and I would pay money to see other people like complain that they can't pay for it and then just leave Twitter altogether, and I'll be like the only one on the platform. That's my goal, to be like the only one left on the platform, and have that peace and quiet where you're like, yeah, exactly. When you scroll, the only tweets you see are your own. You're like, wow, I said that yesterday. That is great. But at the same time, I'm curious because I've seen people talking about how they're making some money off Twitter by posting content. So I wanted to do some experiments, like post some long form content and see like, what does it take to qualify? Is it, a viable option, and to experiment, and I think whatever they do, which is like crazy, no matter how crazy Elon acts, no matter what he says, somebody's going to be like, oh, I love this. This is awesome. And there's definitely going to be like people that are going to support him. And so I'm kind of curious to watch it play out and to see where it goes.
Yeah. Bobby, do you think he will actually follow through on this? Or is this just one of those things that he's spouting off?
He could. And I think it would. Personally, I don't think anyone's going to pay for it. And in a weird way, I probably won't. But I do pay for LinkedIn, which is weird. I've been paying for LinkedIn for like 10 years. I don't know why I do, but like I do.
Dude.
And why wouldn't I cough up $1 for Twitter? I don't know why I wouldn't. I just don't. So I don't know, man. And in one way, if you put it all behind a paywall, then it becomes more like Medium, and then not everyone can read all the content, which is going to reduce the advertisers on the platform. And I think it puts it in a death spiral. You're definitely going to have people that won't pay for it or can't. No matter what you make it, it's $1. He said a small fee, but it's going to be $5 or $8 a month. You know it is. It's going to be kind of there with Twitter Blue. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be 99 cents a month. That's for sure. That won't stop bots.
Right.
Seems like you could fix the bot problem some other way. If you think that, I mean, so if you reduce the advertisers, reduce the eyeballs, and your daily active users go from 500 million to 100 million, it's the end of Twitter. It's a definite gamble, whether people will pay for it or not.
I think what Elon needs to do is go the Unity route, where every time you install the app, you have to pay like 20 cents or 30 cents. I think that's they should try that model. I think it'll be good.
View for impressions.
Cash. Yeah, exactly. Every time you look at something for a second, you get charged 20 cents. I'll quit all social right now. Like, oh my God, this costs you 20 cents. Jesus, this is way too much already for the value.
So apparently there's just more bots than people on Twitter, which I do believe that. I do think if you follow any kind of conversations and you read through them and you start seeing it, it's like, that's a bot. That's a bot. You can just look at them, and they're programmed to either cause problems inside of a feed to make it more engagement oriented. I'm convinced some of these bigger Twitter people have bots that take the opposite view. I'm convinced of it. Especially in the political arena. Like if you're like a Democratic operative or whatever, you've got like 6 or 7 Republican bots that go into your feed all the time to create the outrage, to create because some of these things that comes from some of these people, like you can't possibly think that.
That's what you think. You're giving like way too much credit to some folks out there on Twitter. Like this, like Twitter is a big platform, so some of those that you think are bots, you're like, oh. That dude or that girl, like, they're not the same like the other bots. Like, I think like it's probably, I mean, I'm sure there's bots, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that just have nothing. Like, they're just repeating stuff they heard a bot say. So,
Yeah. Well, and that's super interesting. I was following very closely to the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, and there was a lot of I feel like bot interaction on like both sides of the coin.
Both sides.
Yeah. So, what you're saying is super interesting. If like, I post something and then I want to like drum up interaction for my post, I've got these bots that are going to like argue with me and disagree with me.
Exactly.
That is brilliant. Brilliant.
It's just, I think that's what happens. I think the ones that are really tuned into this and Twitter's their lifestyle, that's how they create controversy. They want the controversy. They want the argument that drives interaction. More people come to it, and they just have 1,000 bots that take the opposing view.
It's funny because like there's a bunch of people like that going to jail because they sold a company where they said they had X number of users and they ended up having just fakes. And it'll be funny, like just by nature of all these bots, Twitter just becomes all fake. And then will be like funny that like you almost don't need like the human interaction, and it's just gonna keep going. And maybe that's his secret. He's like, secretly he's saying he doesn't want bots, but he wants some more bots because he's training that AI on all this interaction, and he's trying to come up with like a sentient being born out of Twitter and be the first one. Oh my gosh. Imagine if he had like a sentient AI that was just trained on like all the
on Twitter.
On Twitter, oh god, it'll be worse than that movie Idiocracy. It'll just be even dumber. Like, oh my goodness. God. Yeah,
but no, I'm not going to pay for Twitter. I don't think I am. But I don't have. I think I have 2,000 followers on Twitter, so I don't have 100,000 or 250,000 followers.
They should. I got it.
We don't pay for YouTube. I mean, like, and imagine if they put a paywall in front of YouTube, no one's watching it.
Right.
TikTok's the same way. I don't think you can charge to view Twitter and it survive. I just don't think that'll happen.
I mean, YouTube does it well where they have their like YouTube Red, or they changed the name. I forgot what it is, but like I like the fact that I never see ads and I don't have to think about it. And people are like ad blocker, and I'm like, yeah, I could do that, but to me, it's just like much easier, and like I don't have to think about it. Not saying that Twitter's gonna go that route, but yeah.
Even the pay version with Twitter was like less ads. It wasn't even like get rid of ads.
Right. There's no.
I'll show you less ads. There is a no ad option. So if you put it all behind a paywall, there's gonna be less people that are willing to advertise on the platform. And we've tried to run ads before, and it just isn't the same. We don't get the same kind of like bang from it.
Twitter ads are the biggest waste of money ever.
That's what
I've done Facebook ads like way better, even like in 2023. Like I feel like they're like the experience like creating ads is different. Like Facebook ads, very targeted. Like I mean, where I don't know what Twitter's doing, but it just takes your money. That's what it does. Just takes your money, makes you feel good because you get all the impressions and clicks, but that doesn't translate into any actionable steps. So like it makes you feel like a lot of stuff accomplished, but nothing really happened. It's
like my whole day today.
Yeah, it's funny.
Feel like I got nothing accomplished.
But what I was quickly going to say, like the one thing like I think about Twitter will be interesting if they're going to continue raise the price, and they are getting like a bunch of people that are starting to stream directly from Twitter, and they're getting like huge like watch times, and these are like this is not like small creators, these are like corporation or like whatever people with like reputation and money, like whatever. And I wonder if it's slowly going to become like just another content streaming service where everything is paid, to be honest, and then that's what you do.
Like him or hate him, Tucker Carlson seemingly has like 100 million views. I haven't watched any of the stuff that he's tweeted that he streamed, but like apparently he's had success moving from Fox News over to Twitter.
Yeah,
that seemingly is working for him. Are the numbers real? I have no idea, but but seemingly successful. Does he get any money from Twitter for that? Are they paying creators for that? I don't know. I mean, I think it's a tough road to hoe if you're just creating content expecting these social media platforms to give you $1 million salary. I just think that's far and few between. So
you got to be like a Kardashian to do that.
No, I think
do something else.
The people that make big are the people that own that platform. So like Twitter's gonna win. You're as a small creator not gonna win. But I think like everybody's trying to, and this is like a new thing I learned about Unity. Like there was a hot take that someone's saying the reason why they're making these crazy price things is because they want to, and this is like, I don't know if it's true or not, but it makes sense, is that they're going to tell creators like, hey, you could pay 20 cents on each install, or you could be part of this ad share program. And so where you don't have to pay that. And so the idea is to get more people to sell ads in their games because that's where the big bucks is. And I think, Twitter's like, he probably wants to do the same thing, but and also like charge us money too. So
that's the death of gaming, though. Like if you can't build a game
100%.
that doesn't have ads in it, don't build a game. I mean, I understand the ad supported games make a lot of money, but like imagine playing like Destiny or Call of Duty. Like every time you play Call of Duty, some ad comes up. Like, dude, the zombie just killed me. Like, what are we doing here, man?
So a lot of people. So this is the funny story. Like a lot of people play mobile games, and I'm like, how did you not punch a hole in your wall? Like every time I even press a button, like not even the game starts, there's an ad.
Yeah.
And then to cancel the ad, you press a button, there's another ad. Yeah, and then you just like, I just automatically delete the game because I wouldn't, hypothetically, I might have thrown my phone like across like,
hypothetically.
And break it.
Yeah, that would be the death of Unity too. If you had to, if you have to put ads in your game, it's just kind of bad. I think you monetize it a different way. They buy it, they pay for it, make a good game.
Yeah.
The gotcha games like Genshin Impact is showing you, man. You put fake currency in your game, sell them fake in-game items, and people will pay you $1 billion. Just have a good game.
So true. And ads, like Paul was saying, in a mobile game is such a terrible user experience.
Awful.
And they've even so Bobby, you and I go to a lot of movies. Yeah. Like there's ads in between the previews now. And I'm like, why is there an ad here? And so when you were just talking about like Destiny, I can just imagine like in the middle of a game, like just a huge like commercial that pops up. That would be terrible.
In between levels, before you kill Crota, let me tell you about Gatorade.
It's like, I hit jump, not show me an ad. What are you doing? I was in the middle. Like, there's what's happening?
Yeah, they're infiltrating everywhere. Bringing it back to Twitter, though, I did see last week that they got in trouble because they weren't labeling some ads as ads. Like the ads were coming up in the Twitter feed, but they were not labeled as ads. So like that's really problematic as well.
It is. Twitter needs to figure it out. They were kind of failing before Elon took it over.
True.
So they got to figure something out, some other way to make money. I'm not sure what to do.
What are the chances of AI becoming self-aware within like a year and a half versus Twitter failing? Like, what are the chances? Like,
if I had to put money on one or the other, Twitter failing. Like, yes, Twitter failing. Like, that's way
100%.
I can't agree with all you. I have to say, AI is going to obviously become self-aware and fix Twitter, but I might be wrong.
AI self-aware, they fix it. Awesome. Let's talk about Google's Bard. So, Bard's been around for a bit, but ChatGPT is the one that gained all of the popularity. And so now Bard's kind of playing catch up and has released what they're calling, what are they calling? Experiments or something like that?
Extensions.
It started with an E. Extensions, that's what it was. I'm like, it started with an E, I remember. Extensions that will dig through your Google Drive, Google Flights, YouTube to give you more personalized chat experience based on the content in your platform. So I did try this out and I have a flight coming up to Texas soon. So I tried to ask it, like, when am I flying to Texas? And it's like, you're not. And because I know I have the flight information in my Gmail account. And so then I'm like, okay, maybe it doesn't understand Texas because like my flight isn't necessarily to Texas, it's to Dallas. So I asked, like, when am I flying to Dallas? You have several price alerts. So I think you're flying in October, but I don't have any specific dates. And like I said, I do have like flight information in my email. So it's definitely not quite there yet, but I want to talk to you, Bobby. Do you think this is enough to overtake the popularity of ChatGPT? And are you okay with Google crawling around in your content?
No, number one, there's no way I'm going to give it access to email, even though I don't use Gmail, for example. But like,
yeah,
I'm very suspicious when they come out and say, we're not going to crawl in your email and we're not going to use it to train any data, except you're letting the AI to crawl around your email. And the only way it can do it is train the data. Like, so it's like, you're not telling me the truth. It's not like they just need to come clean. And I just think you should turn it off. They're probably crawling it anyway.
Right.
But like, I don't think it necessarily works either. So like, one of the examples they all said on the media, all these media people say, yeah, what you can do is just say, summarize my email from today. Well, what if it's wrong? You know, I mean, like, you know, like, and you missed something very important.
You missed something super important. Yeah.
So the first time it does that, then you're like, I can't trust Bard anymore. I'm just going to read my email like you should anyway. I scan through my email probably once in the morning, once in the evening, and just look at the headlines. A lot of it's spam. And then I'll click on the ones that I'm interested in. I do that faster than I think typing it into Bard would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So.
I can't imagine like the fails that will happen on a most epic epic level. Like somebody will be like, hey, summarize my emails from last week. And I'll be like, well, like you got promoted and you're going to get a raise of like $300,000. And like, good news, you're going to be part of like the owner of the company. Then you go tell your wife all the exciting news that you heard. And then you look at your emails. It's like, no. I didn't get promoted. Joe got promoted. And then I didn't get a raise. I'm actually getting fired. And and my wife is divorcing me right now. Oh, it's like, I mean, like the thing that blows my mind with AI, even to this day, like it's a random word generator, like the iteration of what it is. It literally is what it is. And it's exciting, like, because it kind of sounds like a human being and it makes sense. And obviously there are certain things it's like really good at, but you know, but it also like makes stuff up just by the nature of it, you know? And so I think people just are jumping on the hype train. I think there's definitely like legitimate uses with AI, but I think like back in the day where long time ago where you're like, we are an internet company and everybody's like, invest. Now it's like, we are an AI company. It's like, invest. And like some of the companies that, you know, are in the same market as like the company that I work for, they're all like trying to quickly push like AI, like tooling or things just to say like, oh, we have this AI thing. And
I think there's a bubble in this, Paul, for sure. Like that none of this is going to go to the reality everyone said it was in November, where this is going to take over, robots going to rule the world. AI is going to be in everything. If you don't have an AI idea, you're dead. You can become a prompt engineer. All of these things that we're saying just isn't going to become true. The fact that we're using AI to search YouTube when we can already search YouTube. I mean, like I can go to the YouTube search bar and type in .NET at Blazor videos by Coder Foundry and come back and get the results. Right. And now they're saying, well, Bard, you can go over here and do it now just because it's on the Bard page.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it AI anymore. Like, it's like, it's kind of dumb. I mean, like to me, it's like, it's a search. So great.
Oh, yeah. And what's
I already can do that. Like, show me something that I can't do.
The search bar.
Right. I can search my email. Typically, how many times have you just wanted a blanket all, catch all, tell me what's important in my email search? Typically, when we search email in the past, we're looking for something specific. You know, we're not just like, tell me what's in this inbox because I have no idea. You know, like it's just bizarre that's the way you would use email.
Yeah, I mean, AI, I think it's 100% overhyped. But the whole idea that scraping your email and like, I mean, they're collecting your data and like you might have some emails like, you know, whatever. And then you're just like, okay, to let that be saved to the internet. You know, I don't think like it, like obviously we don't have any privacy anymore, but it's just interesting how they keep like asking for more. And what's funny, I was using this service as a trying out. I'm not going to say who they are, but it's a very popular like service and it's a hosted database. And I made a bunch of requests from my house to test my API. And then when I looked at all the data that it collected on top of like, it had my IP, it had everything. I think it also had my social security number, the name of my like ex-wife. Like
your mom's maiden name.
Yeah, my mom's maiden name. I was like, whoa. Like what? And I'm like, that's what free means. That's what free means. When you sign up for something free, it ain't free, buddy. It's and they're collecting something. I was just like, wow, that's like a lot of information. Like, and the fact that like I even have access to it. So like if somebody used my API, like I would know all that information about their computer and that, like whatever. And me personally, I was like, I didn't even think it was legal to have that, but apparently it's fine. It's fine.
So I'm trying to figure out the value add here. So like searching for airline tickets, I mean, we've already done that.
Right.
Searching through maps. Are we ever just searching for something in maps? I mean, like usually you want to go to a place or get directions to the place, you just type in the city, state, location you're trying to get to, it gives you a map. I didn't see really the big thing. It can search through all your Google Drive for every document. I just don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Well, and you can already search in, like you were saying, like in YouTube, you can already search in Google Drive. Like there is a whole search bar that will search through your Google Drive. Like, why would you need AI to help with that?
The other thing too is if we look at the Microsoft hack that happened like a couple of days ago, where they were uploading, I don't know, 350 terabytes of data, and then they were using it for training, and then they release it on GitHub or whatever, and then there's a malformed key, and then suddenly the entire Azure storage for Microsoft is exposed to the world, and it's like everyone's personal computer backups. Yeah. I mean, that's what you're doing when you're throwing all your stuff into this AI. It'll get leaked. It'll leak out there. It's happening. And they're just trying to get us to opt in to allow that training to happen is what I think. You opted in. Well, you said you wouldn't do it. Oh, I know what we said, but Yeah,
listen. Oh my goodness. Yeah, like it's scary. It really is. I really feel like I have a friend. He's very like pessimistic about life in general, and he's always complaining how AI is like going to take over the whole world. It's going to take everybody's jobs. And I think I told the story before, but he also is like watches this one YouTube channel. I forgot what it's called. Don't go, like, even if I remember the name, don't go watch it. It's basically this guy talking about how we're literally like hours away from a sun having this corona discharge that's going to wipe out all the electronics on Earth. And I'm like, bro, like, how can you be happy? You're like, AI is bad. It's going to do this, like, blah, 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 blah. And then also, like, the sun's going to explode. I'm like, how do you live with yourself? And I think that's just like the funny part is, to me, it's like, I hope it happens, because I think the more technologically advanced we get, the less privacy we have, and the more like imprisoned by the technology we get. And so, like, to me, like, I joke around. I'm like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to live in a dystopian, like, futuristic cyberpunk world with 1984 type of law? No, it wouldn't. Nobody wants to live there. It's like, no, it's not going to be fun. You think it's like, oh, this is cool. I got like cyber implants, and then it's like, no, like no freedom, no nothing, becoming like the machine, and everything is thought out for you. And to me, I think there is no going back. That's the scary part. And so like I'm glad that I have my daughter, like, and she's like 23, so she's older, and I'm like thinking, okay, what is she going to see in her life? And I think like being born in like 1980s was like the best last year to be born. Not because I was born in 1980s, I'm just saying. But the fact is that like, like you're not going to live through this Terminator Matrix / 1984, because I'm not going to make it to that time. It'll be too old. Yeah. And it's, so to me, I'm like, I was born at the right time. Yeah, maybe I won't get to see spaceships, but I also won't get to see like, a situation where it's like, oh, we didn't like how you think today. So since your social credit is connected to your electric bill, we're going to turn off your like smart car, and you can't go anywhere. And it's just like, obviously people be like, Paul, you're being very pessimistic.
No, we're
not. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Yeah.
What I think is funny and ironic about this is like, so this is Bard. This is Google, one of the largest companies on the planet. They have an AI platform. They're trying to catch up with OpenAI. Yeah. And this is what they came out with. You can search YouTube.
That just shows that they have nothing. They have nothing,
man.
They're just literally like making stuff out of thin air. They're like,
again,
I
should be called into these meetings, So
really,
the guys presented, this is what we're doing with Bard. I'm like, you're searching YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh, and Gmail.
And okay. Gmail. And Google Docs.
Can we already do that? I'm just wondering.
Those already have search bars, right?
This is a better search.
Yeah.
Listen, like, me, like when we did that, the Skynet watch, I was always like very pessimistic. AI is gonna like take over the world really quickly. And then the more I play with it, the more I realize it's like smoke and mirrors. I broke Mid-Journey the other day, and for the life of me, it could not generate the picture that I wanted. And okay, listen, don't judge. This is gonna sound weird, but imagine,
Something
you know,
coming out of your
pigeons,
mouth
right?
sounding
You have your
weird.
pigeons, right? Pigeons. Like, so you have a pigeon dealer who sells pigeons, and the pigeon dealer looks like a magician, like really cool and like juggling pigeons, and it's a pigeon magician. And then she's in a castle, right? That's a beautiful castle dealing pigeons. And then who is her first client? It's a lion wearing a top hat and a coat. No, AI cannot generate it. I challenge anybody in the world.
Can't figure that one out.
No, Mid-Journey can't figure that out, which is crazy. So anybody, my challenge to all of you who are watching this, podcast, and then tweet the image and tag the podcast. But do the prompt, which says, literally just do this word for it. Imagine a female pigeon dealer magician selling pigeons to a lion in a castle. It's broken. It doesn't do it. Like, it doesn't even know what the hell a pigeon is. Like it has, or a lion, or because they're never in the same picture at the same time. And I'm like, something fish around this. This is, that's, again, it did not have the right data that was trained on.
It's very underwhelming of like what this integration has. It's very underwhelming. Like, it doesn't do anything new. There's no added value here. Some of the integrations that Microsoft's rolled out is kind of cool. Right. I used the AI to like work on my LinkedIn profile. Then again, if you think about it, I can create better headlines for your LinkedIn profile, and you spent $10 billion building something like this. It's kind of like, is it worth doing? I mean, you could just type it in and ask someone, I mean, like, it's not really artificial intelligence. It's just.
Do you think it's enough for people to be like, oh, okay, I'm going to use Bard instead of ChatGPT?
No, that's too late.
Well, I think people will. ChatGPT usage has dropped significantly. There's less and less people paying for it because they're figuring out like, this isn't valuable. After you get past the novelty of it, like, what would I really use this for? What's my value add? Why should I pay $20 a month for this? GitHub Copilot is a cool extension. I do use that. I see the value there. It's not replacing as the developer, but it does actually, that works. But then after that, you're trying to figure out what else could we do? Could we look at the genome? Yeah, if you're in those kind of realms, maybe there's some solutions there. But for this general purpose search bot, and like, I'm just going to chat with this thing and it gives me information about whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's really expensive way to build search.
Yeah. And again, it's the fad, but there are some cool ways of using. I saw one where it's same database management tool that I used. Mm-hmm. They have a place where you could write SQL query to ask questions like to query your data and like whatever. And if you suck at SQL querying like I do, they have AI, and you could just ask what you want in a human like way you would say, and it will go ahead and create that query for you, which I think that's a great use case of it. But it's they did overhype it to a point where they made everybody believe that it's like way bigger than it was.
Yeah, the reason it can do SQL so well is that SQL is a very finite language that has a very small set, and it does a very specific thing. And once you know the objects, you have inserts, deletes, joins. Yeah. I mean, the language isn't that big. Now, can it get complex? Yeah, and it probably fails at the really complex things. Probably makes some bad queries. But like, if you got a database of sale data and you want your salesman to say, "Hey, how did we do last quarter?" It can generate those things pretty easily for you. But that's been around too for a long time, man. Like where we have reports.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Crystal reports?
It's been around for a minute, man. Like it doesn't really move the needle like world changing type things like the internet did. Everyone says this is a lot like the internet. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm sure we'll get a lot of comments that tells me that I'm wrong again.
unless they did find and finally have a AI that became self-aware, and now they're like backpedaling and trying to make it look really stupid.
Right. That's
you
what's
know,
happening.
just so people, like, oh no, okay, see, we're good, we're safe.
So I'll get comments on YouTube. Wait till GTP 5 comes out, Bobby. Then you'll change your mind. Okay, I'm waiting.
Right.
Google just rolled out a search bar for YouTube, so that tells you what they think about this. That's
Google,
it.
So
stuff you can't do already, I promise.
One final note on this. I was watching a news report on this, and the guy was saying, what can you do with Bard? And he goes, well, let's say that my friend and I are taking a trip together and I forgot the dates. I could ask Bard when the dates were, and I can make sure that we get to the place on time, And I'm thinking the whole time, like, dude, really? That's what you're going to do? Let's say it's a wedding and you got to be at your friend's wedding. Yeah. And you just say, okay, it's next Tuesday. Okay, I'll make sure I can you get me a flight there? I'll make sure I'm there. And it picks the wrong day and you miss the wedding. You're the best man. Instead of just calling the guy on the phone or texting him and say, when do I got to be there? What's the dates? It just seems like a problem looking for, or that's like a solution looking for a problem. That's a better way to say it.
I think people have, sorry, my kitty here. I think people just lack imagination, because like just now you mentioned that. I was like, why would you like ask for dates for a stupid trip? I need like a couples translator. Like when you're arguing, like when I'm arguing with someone, because because when you live with someone, you know exactly what buttons to push, and you just know exactly how to say it. And sometimes you don't think about it. You're just like, blah 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 blah. Then you're like, oh no, like I'm sorry, and I said what, and that's like that, and you sleep on the couch for like next few days. But basically, create a translator where whatever I say always comes out sounding magical and nice and polite.
The other thing I think is weird about this is like, let's say that I'm like, and I'm not, but let's say that I'm super important. I'm flying all over the world all the time. And I've got I'm in 3 different countries once a month. I fly everywhere. I'm everywhere. I have an assistant. I'm not relying on Bard to make sure that I'm at the World Economic Forum. I'm not relying on Bard for that. I have people because I'm that important. And then when you boil it all down to regular people, they're just calling their aunt and making sure, like, oh, I'll be there next Tuesday. I'm making sure that I'm on time and we're talking about it. It just seems bizarre that they want to automate this, and then it doesn't do it well.
So, that's what
for example, I'm saying, it's wrong.
Here, it's completely. I literally I allowed it access to my personal email, not my work email.
Right.
But I'm just like, I clearly have a flight booked, and the confirmation is in my email. I have it saved in my email. There's definitely a flight to Dallas in there, and it can't even find that.
Yeah, it's making sure you're going to Miami, or you're going to get the eclipse,
right?
Or something else. I'm just guessing.
Bobby's point, if you had an assistant and you asked him that same question, they would have got the answer. Right. They would have made send you a message. And that's actually really good point you made, Bobby. It's like you have to be like an expert wrestler with these prompts just to have it say something useful to you. Where if you have an assistant who knows your schedule, you just say hey, I'm going to be there. They're going to be like, okay, let me make sure we call the hotel. Let me make sure you have this done. Do you have your presentation? They already know this context that you don't have to explain to them, where AI. And the question I have, because it is very expensive to run, and all the calculations require a lot of GPUs, and what is the cost of it, and I'm assuming a lot of these companies, they have to be operating at a loss. They are, and so it's what's the math when you think about it in terms of a request? Is it paying am I going to be more productive with ChatGPT-esque type of assistant than I am with a secretary or an assistant, a human being? And that'll be interesting,
I think, Sarah, we could probably open up your Gmail. We shouldn't do this on the screen, but you probably open up your Gmail and type in Dallas, Texas, just those 2 keywords, and it probably would have found the right email, or at least
I'm pulling this off this screen, and and I'm going to do that. Let me just see here. I'm just going to type Dallas,
in search, not even in Bard.
Look, there's my flight receipt.
There you go.
Results.
That took a second.
I literally just typed down.
All right. So here.
Or we could use the $1 billion AI bot that
hold
gets
on
it
a
wrong.
second. Hold on. I figured out. I figured out the solution to the problem. What they need to do, they have to integrate their AI with search, where you just say, Bart, type Dallas in the search box. And then it's going to give you the right answer. Problem fixed, you know. You need it's like you need $1 million to turn on the light switch. It's like
Exactly. It's just
like
dumb.
I could just get up and do it. That's perfectly fine. It's
So MGM Resorts, who owns the Bellagio and the Aria and the MGM Grand and et cetera, like almost the entire South Strip, was recently hacked. So I'm gonna just ask first a question to Paul. First, are you surprised something like this didn't happen during DEF CON?
I think I was thinking about it, it's like, number one, I am surprised because I mean things got hacked, not at this level. And
Sure.
I think it's because what I found out when you go to like those type of events, there's a lot of like government officials there as well.
Sure.
They're either recruiting or they're searching for someone. They're always there. So like the game that they play, like Spot a Fad, like Fad, can you like figure out who's undercover? And so I'm like, probably the worst time to do something like that. So I'm thinking
That's true.
they waited. They're like, you know what? We plant all the seeds. We'll wait and we'll do it, you know, some point in September or whenever this happened. That's what it is. But yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So the thing that came out was they made a 10-minute phone call. They used LinkedIn and found an employee and called the help desk and made a 10-minute phone call. Do you have a theory on how they got in? Because some things out there are saying that they called and did a password reset, which would make sense to me. But if they have two-factor authentication installed, that doesn't make sense to me because even if they reset the password.
There was a talk at the DEF CON.
Okay.
And it's like their whole angle was similar to this one. I'm not saying that they used the same strategy, but the angle was like they called the company knowing like that the person that they're trying to contact is not there, like the owner. And so they called it like, hey, John, I'm driving to your place right now and I have a package for your boss and he really needs to get this delivered. Is he there? And they're like, no, he's not. And they're like, oh, no, like, can I just drop it off? And like, that's what like the person is like, no, I can't drop it off because you need to confirm like your identity. And I guess I'm going to have to, he's like, I don't know. Like, I really need to like get in touch and deliver this package today. And the guy's like trying to be helpful. It's like, is there anything like I could do? He's like, okay, so all you need to do is just confirm that you're the company that you are. And so I'm going to send you a follow-up email. And all you got to do is just enter like the numbers that you see. And that way I know it's you. And so that way I'll deliver the package. So the person went on, opened the email, and he said, like, please confirm like the ID from your phone rep. And the phone rep, like, blah, blah, blah. Not realizing when he opened that email, it was already too late. It started like doing all the stuff. And then basically like 15 minutes went by and the package never arrived. And he's like, uh-oh. And so it was like it's a very serious company that it happened to. And so they had to call and, try to be like, that's it. We got hacked. And that's it. So how did they do it here?
They logged in and they actually gave this guy the password. And then he logged into a system, probably VPN or something like that. And then they were in.
Wow.
So what I think also can happen is they can target an individual and get their email address. And then they phish the email guy, they send him in. And then once they get access to the email, then they call into the company, reset the password, and they get it sent to them via email.
Oh, yeah,
There's a lot of things that they can do to get in. But this is MGM we're talking about. And you would think that hackers would be scared to hack the mafia.
Right.
You know? We all watched Ocean's 11. Yes, they got away with it. But did you see the second movie when they blew up the guy's car in the airport? They end up paying him back. They really did. So like, what I do think that's awesome. They sent this, if you read this email that they sent back to MGM is just really kind of snarky. They were just poking the bear. And it seems like if you have almost unlimited money, that you would find these people
Right.
And I do think these types of crimes should be prosecuted in international court to the highest degree.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think most of these are state actor sponsored. It's either Russian sponsored or Chinese sponsored, or we're doing it. The U.S. is doing it to someone else. I mean, so I think that's kind of what it is. It's meant to either embarrass it. The other thing that's weird is that Okta was one of the vectors here.
Yeah.
And so Okta being like they're kind of like a SSO password authentication type company, and they got access to that, and then they could lock everyone out, or they could get cookies and log into someone else. So that's a problem. That shouldn't have been able to happen. So it's definitely a problem, but it seems like MGM would fund them.
Oh, 100%. They're probably they just like, well, I just got to make a phone call,
Yeah.
They're sending Andy Garcia after them.
Yeah. Run and hide. Run and hide.
Run and hide.
It's so crazy though how easy it is to like kind of fall for stuff like that you do have to kind of be aware. So like I don't read my emails at work.
I don't read emails really. I mean, I read the things in there, and I don't really read emails that much. So
yeah, one of the thoughts that I had was if because I was iffy on whether it was like a password reset or not because of the two-factor authentication piece. And like if they had two-factor authentication, which I would hope that they did, then how did they get past that part? They'd have to, fish for that information or something like that. But one of the ways I saw, I don't know how familiar you are with Linus Tech Tips on YouTube, but his YouTube got hacked. And the way that his got hacked was they sent a contract PDF to one of his employees, and the employee opened the PDF and it just took the tokens from their browser.
Right.
And so they could totally bypass two-factor authentication. They don't even need his password. So I was like, I wonder if like their call to the help desk was like, hey, I'm having a problem with this PDF, and send them like a malicious PDF, and then it's grabbing all the tokens that they've got in their browser.
So what people don't know about this, if you have the cookie in the browser, it is assuming that you're already logged in.
Right.
So if you can steal the cookie, you don't need the password. And this is a very famous YouTube hack. And so like that's why here in our channel we log out of YouTube every day. It's a pain in the rear, but like we log out of the accounts that control our email. And then we also use YouTube we use other accounts than our personal email or anything like that. So we use an account that is only used for that YouTube.
Yeah.
And then we log out of it. So you can't stay logged into it. So it's kind of weird. Like when I want to go look at the stats, I got to like log in and get the password. And it's kind of, but if you don't do that, they'll just, if they could take that cookie, log in, delete all your videos, and show Elon videos, which is what they were doing to Linus Tech Tips. They can delete your channel.
That's crazy.
Exactly. So I'm curious if that might have been like a vector.
Has something to do with Okta for sure, like something like that. And then they could just log in as someone with elevated permissions, and they've apparently encrypted data, and they're asking for money for it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So hopefully they told them to run and hide.
That's basically the phone call went something like this. They're like, we got your stuff. And then on the other side here, I'm a man of many skills. It's like
I will find you.
I will find you, and I will destroy you and everybody you loved. You don't mess with MGM Grand. Like, listen, here's the thing. Like, I went to Las Vegas. They have a mobster museum there. And you go and learn all the history, and they have like people like got shot and like whatever. It's like, oh, this is like, and you're like, huh, because it's part of the history. And I'm like, when I went to like I didn't even gamble because I'm like, I just don't want to look at anybody funny. Not saying that it's still operated by like the mafia, like allegedly, whatever. Probably never was the case. I have no idea but like it's like you gotta like think, it's who you messing with, you know what I mean? And there's just certain people like you shouldn't mess with. And like, I'm sure like the news will be like, this is it. This is as far as the story goes. Because why? Because they took care of it.
They took care of
it.
it.
They figured it out. It's all done, and they're like, we don't need to add any more limelight to the way we handle things here, allegedly. But yeah, I mean, it's like, what were they thinking? What's funny though, like, it's easy to kind of make fun of people, like, who would fall for these like scams, and I think like any one of us could fall for them. And I remember, like, at our job, we had someone like clear, like, the emails be like the name of the owner of the company, plus like 123 XYZ dot whatever, Google, Gmail, like whatever. And like, I got an email and I was like, oh, who's gonna fall for this? Like, this guy's basically saying, we're gonna do a secret party, and what we want to do is like buy a bunch of gift cards for our employees.
Right.
But so they're basically trying to have someone like spend their credit card, buy a bunch of gift cards, then log in and like do like some. And so I'm like sitting at my desk and I hear like a new hire go to the owner. It's like, hey, I got all these gift cards you wanted. And I was like, I was like, oh my God. And then at the same time, I was laughing, but the 5% of me was like, that could have been me. Thank God. I just a little bit smarter than that, dude. Thank God.
Thank you for the gift cards there, son. And by the way, today's your last day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And let's go ahead and turn over your badge because you clearly
just hand it in.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, let's go ahead and get to our recommendations then, or not recommendations. This is where we talk about what we like, what we don't like. So, Bobby, let's just go ahead and start with you. What is your recommendation for this week?
All right, so it's YouTube television, but specifically NFL Sunday Ticket. I do it every year. So, full disclosure, I was a DirecTV customer since 1996.
Oh my gosh.
And I have since no longer a DirecTV customer, and now because of Sunday Ticket. So I recommend Sunday Ticket. It's really cool. If you're watching a football game, there's a lot more features built into it because it is an app versus where it was on DirecTV. You can look at stats if you're into fantasy football. The thing that I can say that is null is the Raiders. I mean, they got beat 38-10 by Buffalo last Sunday, and it's going to be a long, hard season for us. But NFL Sunday Ticket, if you're a football fan and you live out of market, it's the only way to watch it. I mean, not to mention if you're just a fan and you want to watch other teams. So, for example, I live here in North Carolina, and if you watch Sunday afternoon football, it's the Panthers or the Commanders and whoever they're playing. That's the choice of the games you have. And every now and then you may get an out-of-market game because those teams aren't playing, and that's it. If you want to watch someone else, you just can't. And if you don't like the Panthers like I do, football sucks on Sunday. So, like, I want to watch the Raiders. So,
right.
I like NFL Sunday Ticket.
Yeah, so I actually paid for NFL Sunday Ticket as well. And at first I was like, man, because last year I follow an out-of-market team because there are no NFL teams in Utah. So, but I am originally from California. I was born in Monterey, and I love my 49ers. My 49ers are going to go to the Super Bowl this year, I swear.
Is that what you think?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
As long as everyone stays healthy, that's where we're heading. But so last year,
Super Bowls did they win though? Like
2 for sure, because I remember they were like 3-peat with Joe Montana.
Yeah.
But they never got that 3-peat. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But I remember them like 3-peat. But
the Raiders are an annual test of patience. That's what they are.
It's okay. I also like the Oakland A's, so I totally feel you, Bobby.
Just never going to be good. They're just never. I mean, like, they've been good a long time ago, but like in the last 25 years, been lean.
Well, thanks for taking Jimmy G off our hands.
That's it. Jimmy Garoppolo, my best friend.
He'll break your heart. He's broken mine many times.
He did Sunday. He's terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're listening, Jimmy G, I'm sorry, man. You can send me a signed football if you want to. I'll take it.
I would take it too. I will say, Jimmy G is my sports boyfriend because he is a gorgeous man.
He is the best looking man in America. I mean, that's for sure. Like if you're hiring male models to play a quarterback,
Yeah.
He's your guy.
Go for Jimmy G. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you need someone to actually throw a pass downfield longer than 15 yards.
Yeah. Not your guy.
Not your guy. Need someone else.
Yeah, I can't lust after Brock Purdy. I could be his mom. So I'm sticking with Jimmy G.
Jimmy G.
And I can just admire Brock as a son. But yes, the Sunday ticket, you don't have to pay for the monthly
you don't. It's just
YouTube
cheaper,
TV. Right. So like I use Hulu Live, so I wasn't gonna like switch to YouTube TV. So I paid for the just NFL Sunday ticket. But it was cool. The one complaint I had was the ability to kind of customize, because you can watch multiple games at the same time, but you can't pick like, I want to watch this game and this game. Like it had some pre-configured.
You can go down through the channels and pick the channel. Like, so it's down there in your live. If you're on YouTube television, you go down there and you have the individual channels and you just pick it. So I haven't seen it with just Sunday Ticket, how it works. But like with YouTube TV, you just go to your regular channel lineup, and then there's a section of channels that are all the games, and you just pick the game that you want to watch.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and they also have the 4 spot. It tries to put 4 games in that you might think. I guess they're using Bard for that.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the Raiders in my 4 block. I'm like, well, really, dude? Like that's it? I'm going to watch the Panthers today. Okay.
Yeah.
You know nothing about me, Bard.
Right. And so I'm looking forward to this too, because so like last year I was kind of doing the like VPN unlegit way to like try and get around it. But when the 49ers were on like local TV, there was one day when it just switched to the Seahawks. Yes. And I'm like, I want to, like, I know 49ers are like really ahead of the other team, but I want to see the end of that game. Like, why are you switching me to the Seahawks? And I was so mad. So that's like the main reason this year I was like, no, I'm doing Sunday Ticket.
Yeah. I've been on Sunday Ticket for 10 years. So I know what you're saying, that sometimes they'll just switch if the game's, they're trying to get a better game for the local audience.
Right.
So
yeah, it was dumb. I was mad.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Paul, what have you got?
I can't tell time, meaning like if an hour goes by or 4 hours goes by, it's like the same thing to me. I don't know like why like that happens to me. And so it's very easy for me either get caught up. Like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but sometimes I could work for way longer than I need to, or watch TV for way longer than I need to, or play video games longer than I need to, because I feel like, oh, I spent an hour, but it's been 8. And so I got this clock that shows like visually like how much time is passing by. And so what I'm trying to do is train myself to work in these 1 hour increments and literally keep track of like literally the number, because time doesn't make sense to me. If you say like so now you go like it was 3 time blocks, but like if you say it's been an hour, I'll be like, I don't know what you're talking to me, which is kind of like I apparently like it's common with people who have ADHD sometimes, but I always wondered like why I could code for like 20 hours and not have to like feel like, oh, why am I tired? Why am I? It's just because like that means like that's not a concept for me, which is kind of crazy.
I'm going to disagree with you. Coding for 8 hours when you're into it and you don't sense the passage of time is just the nature of doing
1 hour. Yeah.
So, like, my wife has called me before. Do you know what time it is? No. What time is it? 11. I'm like, what? It's 11.
My God, yeah.
Are you coming home tonight? I'm like, yeah, I'll be there in a minute. Yeah. I mean, I think.
I think you have ADHD too. Then I'm just kidding.
So
kidding.
That's a longer discussion. What I think about ADHD. Yeah, so like, we should probably do that on the podcast. How I handle it. But like, I actually enjoy it. But like, that's just me.
Yeah, but it's funny because for me, it's with everything. I remember driving to Florida and like my girlfriend at the time was like complaining, you need to stop. I'm like, we've only been driving for a couple of hours. She's like, it's almost like, 8 p.m. and we left early in the morning. And I was like, oh, I guess we should stop, But it did get me in trouble because, at least I'm going to use it as an excuse, but I'm very good at being like, oh no, like when you're in a relationship and you're like ready to make a commitment, you're like, yeah, it's going to happen. Like, we're going to do it like for sure. Like the thing and engagement and whatever, just next month we're gonna figure it out. And then she says to me, it's been 3 years. And now I'm single again. So, and then I literally called her and I was like, baby, listen, we don't have to get back together. I totally understand because you moved on, I'm kind of moving on, but it's not my fault. I can't tell time. And she looked at me like, what are you, stupid? I'm like, no, it's really a thing. It's just not a concept for me. And she's like, I'm like, I'll get you a doctor.
You could tell her, I've got a clock now.
Yeah, exactly. I did. That's exactly what I did. I showed her the clock, and like when someone looks and they're like, that's like the look I got. And then,
he needs to set the engagement timer.
Like, yeah, exactly. I should write with a marker, engagement will happen here.
Yeah. Perfect. That sounds great. Well, my recommendation is actually productivity as well, Paul. So ding, ding, ding. But I have tried literally every to-do list application because I am like a productivity app junkie. Like every time I see a new shiny productivity app, I'm like, ooh, let me try that out. This is the one that I have been using for well over like 15 years. And every time I try out a new to-do list application, I'm like, oh, okay, this new one came out with some new features. Let me try that out. Nope. I go back to TickTick. It's really just got all of the features that I want. It has a Pomodoro timer on there, Paul. So you can set your little like 20-minute timer for Pomodoro tasks. And then it's got like habit tracking. I can just type in like reading at 7 p.m. I don't need Bard to like help me get that going there. I can just type it in. And then like, you can see it in a calendar form. You can set up a whole bunch of different lists. You can so I've got lists for each of my kids. And so I set their chores in there and I can see when they're checking off their chores. And it's really just my favorite. I mean, I've tried Todoist and, Google Tasks and the Microsoft one and like all of the above, like literally have tried everything. And I keep coming back to TickTick. So that is my favorite to-do list application.
So I was wrong to all you guys out there watching me on YouTube. I guess the to-do list can get you a job. So like apparently you can build a whole company around it. I don't have one of them. Right. That's kind of cool.
You don't have
I was going to make fun of the name TickTick, and then I realized that TikTok came afterwards. I'm like, okay, so they were earlier. Okay, 15 years ago. I got you.
Yeah,
Tick-tick.
I mean, TickTick. I love it so much. Like, and I would pull up my to-do list, but I don't want everyone to see all of my tasks and stuff. But I literally have so many lists. Like I've even got lists for like movies I want to watch, and I can make it so it doesn't show up in like my today. Like, so just like the tasks that are due today, with all of like, home improvement projects that I want to do. Because literally, and I have an Instagram reel about this, if you don't see me write something down that I say I'm going to do for you or with you, I am going to forget about it immediately. Even when I have something, I'm like, okay, I have this meeting tomorrow at 7 p.m. Oh, I'll totally remember that. If it doesn't go on my calendar, I will get a text message. Hey, are you coming? Oh, yeah, that's right. I have that meeting. And every time I'm like, oh, I should put that on my calendar. And I'm like, no, I'll remember. I never remember. So I have to have a to-do list application where I can like any lists or any tasks. I even have like all my bills in here. So most of them are paid automatically, but I still look at it. Oh, okay, this bill was due. I check my bank account. Okay, yes, it came out of my bank account. I'm a little like retentive about all of that. So so I love this to-do list application.
It's awesome. TickTick.
TickTick. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up unless anyone's got anything else they want to say. But thanks for listening. Don't forget our email address is the Not Null Podcast at AOL.com. I don't know if we've gotten any messages to that email address. I think Kevin's got that password, so we'll have to ask him. But feel free to drop us a line, leave us a review. If you are on Apple Podcasts, we would love a review or Spotify, you can also hit how many stars you give this podcast, which should be 5 if you're already still listening. So 5 stars. And then tell all your friends that the best tech podcast is the Not Null Podcast.
Agreed.
And we'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.